Christmas episode with Peter, so I felt I had a bit more artistic license, if you can call it that, to have a bit of fun with it. But the first time with Adventure in Space and Time, I felt a bit of the weight of responsibility to get it right, because we were recreating an actual scene from An Unearthly Child, the very first Hartnell one. And so I was given a lot of DVD footage to study and books to read about William Hartnell and his career and his life. One particularly written by his granddaughter called Who Was There? And it was her recollections of him as a man as well as an actor. And so I felt you have to, I think it's probably harder trying to recreate something that the people are already familiar with. And so I found that harder. But because I'd already played the actor playing Doctor Who, it was easier second time around, because I was familiar with him and his way of speaking and his way of acting. And but the script with Peter Capaldi gave me, as I said before, room to have a bit of fun with it and not feel that people who follow it would say, but the Doctor wouldn't say that, or he wouldn't behave like that.
Well, I have to say, he did a fantastic job in the Adventure Space and Time of capturing Hartnell. I mean, certainly, just the pictures alone, it looked quite amazing. So it was an excellent job there.
He did loads of pictures, didn't he? But
yeah.
Bill Hartnell, I mean, before Doctor Who, I mean, he was a stalwart. What's that lovely telly channel, Talking Pictures TV? Have you got that? You ever watched that?
Oh no, but I've heard about it.
Just honestly, just get it.
Yeah.
You probably got it. You don't realise you got it.
Yeah.
But like every other time I turn it on, he's on it in something from the 50s and the 60s.
Brighton Rock.
Yeah.
The Sporting Life with Richard Harris and The Way Ahead, a great war film, black and white war film.
He was in that.
He was one of those, as you said.
So when he gets the Doctor Who gig, what is he in his 50s? What is he?
He was, yes, but he wanted to play it older. He was one of those rare actors that actually enjoyed playing older than his actual age, because a lot of actors, maybe 70, well, I can still play 50, a bit of 9 and 5 and a bit of touch of blue in the corner of the eyes.
Still doing Razor's stuff.
More puffy, love.
But he actually liked playing older, and well, I was, I think, about 70 when I played William Hartnell, but he was only in his mid-50s when he did it. But he looked,
that's kind of weird, but he looked old.
Yeah.
But to us, he was like, to those kids, he was like 100 years old. Fantastic.
So Paul, I'm going to ask you a quick question, and I'm going to throw it over to the audience. You may well have been asked this one before, but
there is a chance that there is.
Time machine. You can go anywhere in space-time.
Yeah.
Given that the current Doctor seems to be meeting lots of historical characters, is there a historical character you'd like to meet, and why? If you could go anywhere and meet anyone, who would you like to meet?
That's a great question. That's a great... a historical character
That you like to meet, chat to?
Yeah, there's loads of them, and I'm just trying to think of one that we could talk about. I know, you know what, it would have to be something from the 20th century.
Yeah.
Because that's the century, obviously the one most of us in the room we were born into. And it's the one that I read most about and I'm kind of most taken with. So it would probably be Trotsky.
Trotsky, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, Trotsky. Yeah,
that would be quite interesting. Doctor meets Trotsky.
The Doctor meets Trotsky.
Yeah.
And maybe in Mexico when he's been exiled, when he's near the end. Yeah. Trotsky was amazing.
Yeah.
He had an amazing life. Not least, and often what's easily forgotten about him is what a skilled, lucky as well, army commander he was. I don't know what you know about the War of Intervention, but after the First World War, after the war was over, the Allies, or major powers anyway, 5 or 6 of them, banded together and invaded the Soviet Union. And the Red Army, led by Trotsky, repelled them. There you go.
So that would be
And we are talking about the French and the Brits and the Americans and the
nice period of history. I don't know about.
there you go.
Yeah, well.
You can have that.
Oh, so that would make a fantastic.
Tell them the doctor
episode.
sent you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna this really is for you guys. I'm gonna turn it over to you guys now. And we had a guy here who put his hand up. So wait, can we have a microphone over here just very quickly? I'm going to speed through these with a bit like.
Paul, David, I mentioned earlier on you do such a great job with Big Finish. David, question for you. I know you obviously famous now playing the First Doctor, but you played Cuthbert, the real baddie, in Big Finish earlier against Tom Baker and Mary Tam. I just wanted to know if you could talk about playing a baddie, and did you actually get to meet Mary Tam when she was alive? Because I know you went to studios in different days and actually produced these things.
No, I didn't. No. You're talking about a Big Finish episode?
Yeah, you played a character called Cuthbert, and he was a baddie. It was against Tom Baker's Doctor. So we're talking about 10 years ago.
I don't recall that.
Shows you how wrong
the Big Finish.
Yeah, you played a baddie rather than the goodie. So,
Do you enjoy playing baddies?
Yeah.
Well, yes. As long as you can find some humanity in them. I'm not saying to people to like them, but to have some kind of understanding of not what they do, but why they do what they do. And I think most actors feel.
Yeah, I think most actors seem to prefer playing baddies than goodies.
I like playing.
Yeah, I think for those reasons that are kind of obvious. I think. Baddies are more
dramatic quite often, aren't they?
our foibles, our mistakes, our dark side. That's more interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's when it's just a play. You don't.
Who wants to do find virtue difficult? Yeah, I must say.
I mean, unless it's alive, unless you get to play like courage with it, unless you can, I mean, if you're good, but who wants to be like somebody thoroughly good?
So would you both like to play the Master? Do you think? The Master. Would you like to play the Master?
Yeah, you'd be great, Bradley.
Oh yeah.
I'd be
I
shy.
think there's a bit
You'd be great at it. You'd be a great master.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of a cue for it.
Okay. So can we have another question,
Thanks, guys.
please? Just a couple down there. Faster.
Could I please ask David Bradley a question about Broadchurch?
Yes.
What was your favourite part of playing Jack Marshall in Broadchurch?
The favourite part? Well, because of his past and what he's supposed to have done and what got him all the tabloid headlines, were the scene where he explains the actual truth behind it and the fact that the young girl he was with, he married her, they had a child, the child passed away and the marriage broke down. There's a terrible back story, and it was just finding a way of looking through the thing he was accused of, and because it's based on a true story of a teacher in Bristol who was supposed to have had an inappropriate relationship with an underage girl, and he lost his job, he lost his reputation, and he found that they discovered that he was entirely innocent of everything he was charged with, but he was still in the eyes of the public a guilty man, and he never really recovered. And it's a terrible story, and there was a touch of that between the truth and the tabloid version of what Jack Marshall had done, which I was glad that the script brought out all that, and he wasn't just a stereotype cut out, well, paedophile really. You know, so I found that a terribly dark territory to explore and to be involved in.
Do you have another question? I have two people over here.
Could I ask David Bradley a question? On the set of Adventure in Space and Time, was it quite emotional?
What the
On the set,
on the set,
like retelling the story and all that.
well, it was in a sense that we did it in a studio in Wimbledon under the same conditions as the original was made, and even to the point of having some of the items in the TARDIS from the original production. So when I walked onto the set, it was just like, well, it was like recreating the original, and not only the bits of set like the odd pillar or the odd object that was around the place. The cameras, we had the cameras that we used at that time, which were like giant fridge freezers with 2-inch thick cables, that you realise the actors who did the original were had to avoid tripping over, and the conditions they had to do the original Doctor Who, and all television at the time, was no retakes, and you only were allowed to do a retake once you had a different camera setup and moved to another location. So, looking at all the stuff from the early episodes, you could see Hartnell stumbling over lines and just making it up, and William Russell helping him out by trying to give him a clue about what was coming next, and chipping in and covering for him. And I thought there was a lot of generosity around among the cast because they were all in it together. And now we just stop and say, "Sorry, can I pick it up from the last line?" And we do that, and it's much easier, and there's less pressure. But I thought what Hartnell had to do, as well as all the lines, with his condition, which affected his memory. He must have. No wonder he had the occasional blow up and got ill and wanted less lines, more screen time, but less lines. And considering his illness and his difficulty with the lines, I could feel a kind of empathy for him. Yeah.
Okay. Another question. Take the lady next door.
Do either of you think about returning to Doctor Who?
Constantly.
Returning to the Doctor Who.
Oh.
More Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly. Who asked that question? Yeah. And even when you're not thinking about it, people make you think about it. So pretty much constantly. There's no escape.
Okay.
And it remains, of course it remains a possibility, because we're still alive. So, and being Doctor Who, you just never know, you never know. I will say one thing, that, and particularly at events like this, they're often, because they're sociable, and we do a lot of talk, and often people talk about rumours that are knocking around, about what's going to happen next. They're never true. But for the simple reason that it's impossible. It's not the way that the thing is made, it's not the way it's ever planned. Most often, like a lot of television, a lot of show business, it's put together at the 11th hour with people who are available, who happen to be around. So for example, if you hear, "Oh yeah, I've heard that in 6 months or next year," no, that's just guff. That's just talk. Mostly it's if you're still standing when we're starting on Monday. That's how it tends to work. So there we go. But constantly, every day of the week.
Another question, someone? One over the back there. That lady. The Antipode, is that right?
And what's he want?
What's your favourite planet that either of you visited?
Oh.
Favourite planet? Is that
Now you've got to remember all the planets you just...
Manchester? That's easy. Manchester. Manchester's my favourite planet. Yeah.
That was
And I'm from Liverpool. So make of that what you will.
Did you visit many planets?
No,
No.
no, we visited one bombed out one, which was an amazing studio set.
Yeah.
I don't know, where was all the snow when we, at the start of the Peter Capaldi one?
Somebody answer that one.
I'm terrible with names.
Yeah, you're in the right place, mate. Someone's
Especially with
passing.
planets.
Sorry? Oh, it's supposed to be the North Pole.
Oh,
There you go. So you
yeah.
didn't go, so you didn't even visit another planet?
I remember now, and we filmed it in a heat wave. And it was in Cardiff, the hottest day they'd had for years. And there we were, with fake snow, a thick overcoat, shivering. And
I don't know about you though, but I when I watch Doctor Who, I always like it. I like, maybe it's just a childlike thing, but when the Doctor's on Earth, I just prefer it. And when Jodie's first episode came out, she was in Sheffield or wherever it was. That was great, you know.
yeah.
You know, despite all the travels around the planets and the universes, you know, when it's in Yorkshire, it's just great. Or London town or whatever. I just prefer it.
Another question? Right at the back. Over there. What do you think of Jodie? What do you think of the latest Doctor?
I love Jodie because we did Broadchurch together, and I just love her energy and her sense of humour, and she's got quite a naughty sense of humour, and a great cackle of a laugh. And I thought when it was announced, I was delighted that it was her, because she seems to have all the qualities that it takes to be a good Doctor. I've only seen. I haven't had a chance to catch up with it at all lately, so I saw one or two early episodes, but yeah.
I think she nailed it in the first 10 minutes. I remember seeing the first 10 minutes of the first ep and thinking, oh, that's hard, because you know, those of us that have played the Doctor know that weird pressure when you first start. Someone else has done the role.
The pressure must be enormous.
Well, it's not unusual for actors, you know, to play roles that other people have played before. But you know, nevertheless, you know, she seemed to just completely fly, rise up. But within 5-10 minutes, she was there, completely fully formed, having a ball, and was dead on. I think she's fantastic. And I'm slightly in love with her, I think. I've never met her. Is she? Anyway.
Yeah.
See me later. See me at school.
She's one of those that takes her work seriously, but not herself. Which is
Great.
perfect.
Great. That's what you want.
And I
She's
think,
great.
and as in Broadchurch, she showed great emotional reserves. What the character went through, quite a few of the characters did, but her storyline was actually truly heartbreaking, but she handled it brilliantly.
Yeah. Super actor.
Another question? Let's take it over here. Let's go this side. Hang on a second, let's see if you can get the mic. My assistant with it.
Yeah. Mad Mike.
If either of you got to do another on-screen appearance as a Doctor, what kind of monsters or aliens would you like to encounter?
Tories. The more Tory, the better.
I was thinking a Boris burger that I would demolish completely.
Well, that went very good.
Yeah, you did ask.
That required a lot of thought, didn't it?
It's quite a good answer.
There must be Tories in every universe, on every planet. It must be like an equivalent everywhere you go. Okay.
I'm going to leave that was a good
Next
answer. I like
question.
that. Back there.
I think we have a Facebook update.
Both of you method actors at all?
I don't even know what that is.
We've all.
That's no then.
I don't know. I don't like the word really. we got every actor, we've all got our own methods, our own way of working. So when they talk about the method, as though it's the Bible or something, I don't understand it either.
I think that it was a, I mean, it's a 50-year-old, 60-year-old thing, isn't it? It was a specific way of certain actors working in a couple of companies in America, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody really does it though. Nobody, seriously, nobody. If what you mean is, is it necessary to get, I don't know, emotionally attached to it? No. In fact, your question was good about, were you emotional on the set? The actors don't need to be emotional. That's not how it.
No.
We just got to remember what we rehearsed.
Yeah.
And do the thing that we rehearsed.
Your whole job's pretending at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Pretending well enough to convince people.
Yeah.
So if
you've got a stage fight or something, I had a stage fight once.
Yeah, you got to learn that first.
And the guy, he actually attacked me on stage, and I said, what happened? He said, oh, I really felt it, Bollocks to that, It's called technique, where you know.
Years ago, seeing Kirk Douglas on Parkinson.
Yeah.
And he's talking about his life and Parkinson, which says to him, talking about when he played Vincent van Gogh in a film, he said, oh, that great bit where you did that and then you cut your ear off or whatever it was. And he said to him, were you moved? And Douglas went, no, you were.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the point. That's the point. That was the perfect answer.
I mean,
that's how it works.
Yeah. I saw a production of a Chekhov play at the World Theatre season in the 60s, and I'm trying to remember the name of the actress. She played Honey in the film of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and she was playing Nina, I think, in The Seagull. And Lee Strasberg, who was the guy, the proponent of this immersive thing, you've got to absolutely feel it. If you're crying, you've got to really cry. You've got to find something. And it suggests a total unawareness of any other actor on stage because you're so into what you're doing. And at one point, she stopped and looked out of the front and said, Lee, the chair isn't talking to me. And obviously, that's what her instructions from the director were, and that kind of method talk is just like totally anathema to me, and I think
it obviously worked for some people. But that's why British actors get a lot of work in the States. I'm being slightly cynical about it. But they're kind of no nonsense. They'll also eat shit food and do it for less money. But there's none of the baggage, there's none of that stuff. They'll do the thing there is, and they're quite durable and reliable. Yeah.
But then Brando went through all that, and Newman, they went through the method school. But I think they would have been just as brilliant, whatever.
Quite right. Quite right.
Okay, we've got time for one more question, I'm afraid.
Make it a good one.
I'm glad to hear. Let's have a question from the young doctor.
Do you get to keep the props afterwards?
If only. Do you
ever steal?
Actors steal what they can. Actors always nick things. You try and get away with what you can get away with. Yeah. It's a costume. I bet you're wearing a bit of one of your costumes now, aren't you?
No.
I am. Yeah, these boots. I've just walked away with them.
I did get the Astrakhan hat from Adventure in Space and Time. In fact, his granddaughter, when we were rehearsing, she brought Hartnell's own Astrakhan hat, and I got to try it on, and his gold ring. But I didn't wear them for the show, but they made me one. And they wanted to make me one for the Christmas episode. And I said, no, this feels right. And I walked away with that. But I don't think they minded that. But I've known actors at the Royal Shakespeare Company who walked out with
what, and their tights and that?
A sword, a big walking out with a stick from the stage door.
Declaiming.
Excalibur or something.
Most actors will do that.
Yeah.
They're souvenirs, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to bring this to a close because
Hey,
you guys have got to go off and have your pictures taken.
God.
Which, I'm sure is a complete novelty to you. Never happened before.
I never know what face to put in.
I just want to say that obviously if people want to see you, or rather if people want to experience you as a doctor, the one way they can still do that is through the Big Finish audio productions.
Quite right too.
In which you're both still living on as doctors.
Yeah.
So I gather, I think you've got some coming out this year, and I know you've got...
Yeah, but I cannot remember Cuthbert.
No.
Well, that's the best thing about coming to these things, is there's people here that'll tell you everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell you where you were.
Is there anyone from Big Finish in the room? There often is somebody from Big Finish. Anyway, if there isn't, then do check out Big Finish's website, because it is where you will find the further adventures of Paul McGann as a doctor, and the further adventures of Dave Bradley as the first doctor.
Yeah.
Thoroughly recommend it. But for now, thank you very much for your questions.
Thanks, folks.
And thanks to David Bradley.